So thanks for being with me. Again, I'm KJ. I'm the human behind Watchwell Games, one of the humans behind Watchwell Games. It's great to have anybody here. We're going to make a character for Land of Eem, and I'm going to assume that you know something about Land of Eem or basic fantasy tabletop role-playing games. Not going to go over the huge backstory of Land of Eem as far as the lore and everything, but I will just briefly show you some of this, trying to keep it where I can not mess up the camera angle any further here for you. But creators here have worked incredibly hard. This is just right here, and they've already got all this content and these roll tables, which is fantastic. They've done a wonderful job, and it is by Ben Costa and James Parks are the two individuals behind this. So, and there's loads of credits. So, hey, let's go ahead and give a shout out to the human creators here. It's fantastic. Is that everybody? Excellent. Yeah, so great artwork, beautiful, colorful, fantasy tabletop role-playing game, though. Basics of dungeon crawling, hex crawls. You've got your basic classes that you would be familiar with. But again, I'm going to assume you know something about that. So we're going to go right in. I made some notes. This is not an advertisement for Space Invaders, but I made like some basic notes, very messy, for me to just go through and see, can I actually make a character here? And understanding my own little messy notes. It's not complicated. So what I'm going to do is go through these very vanilla steps, very, very, very vanilla basics. They have a Patreon that you can join, and I'm going to move this where you can actually see this a bit better. And the Patreon, it goes into the expanded classes and folk that they offer, but we're sticking to vanilla with the very basics. So whenever you get to character creation, that's in chapter 2. So the basics, all the dice mechanics, the lore, what the game is about, is in chapter 1. There's a bit of the content that we need in chapter 1 for character creation that is covered in chapter 2. So like attributes and stats, obviously skills are housed under your attributes. You've got your abilities and classes. Not going to go over XP and leveling up because that is not a part of the basic character creation. So what we're going to do is look at primarily chapter 2, or refer back to chapter 1 just a little bit. If you have any questions, let me know. I don't know that I might be able to see them or answer them right in this moment, but if I can, I will. And if not, type them in, I'll see them, I'll come back to them and answer them as soon as I can. So chapter 2, character creation. I'm going to let you see what the book looks like, and I'll show you the character sheet. So if we go to page 24, what they have done here is we've got these steps, and there are 8 of them. Housed within those are different actions that you're going to do to build out your character. One thing I really like about great rule books is that they give you a preview of character sheets. Now, if you like QR codes, you like going to the websites, and you want to download this, you can get your character sheet printed out. You can use the fillable digital one. I'm going to use paper version because I have a pencil, and I'm going to write some things out. But one of the great things here is that you've got these numbered 1 through 8. And then over here, as you see on the general sheets, as they call this, you've got all the steps. So if I'm going to say, look at step 5, I can actually know here is courage, attack, and defense are going to be right here. So there is that relationship. So I think that's really great. I think that's very, very accessible. So let's go over these. If you do not have the rule book, there is a quick start that you can get free from landofeem.com. There's no affiliate or commission here. So guys, this is all about the creators, not me, that you're benefiting here, and yourself by playing the game. So we're going to think about character concept. That is the first step that we're going to do. Within this first step, we've got class, folk, and sheet. I just refer to the sheet. Now, one thing that you need to note when you do have the rule book is it says browse classes. Oh, it's a shine on the book. I'm noticing that. You know what? That's pretty lousy, isn't it? Sorry if you can't see this. I'm going to try to hold this up where my camera light's not going to cause the glare. It says page 19. That's actually going to be page 26, which is just one page over. So let me show you this real quick. That is page 26, where it just starts with classes. It doesn't say, here are the classes, and gives you an outline. It starts right there with Bard. So, one thing I want to tell you about the classes, though. There are the 6 classes. There's Bard, Dungeoneer, Gnome, the Knight Errant, the Loyal Chum, and the Rascal. A note about Gnome is it actually is a folk also. So if you select the class Gnome, then you are going to also have the Gnome folk. There is an exception to this. I have not done this yet, but I think there is something about dual class that one of my buddies did, and it actually allowed you the benefit of a mixture. I'm not going to go into that. We're sticking to the vanilla flavor. Sorry, no sprinkles on your ice cream today. I see Waza has joined. Waza, hello, and apologies, camera is crooked because this is my first time. So turn your head sideways or your phone, whichever you prefer. So with the classes, we have Bard, Dungeoneer, Gnome, the Knight Errant, the Loyal Chum, and the Rascal. I made the Loyal Chum and the Rascal previously. So let's go ahead and assume that I'm going to recreate something that I made before. Let me show you the character sheet right now. Give me one moment here. And again, if you're just now joining, you didn't see the beginning of this. This is my first stream on Substack. I've done videos before in a previous life. And, let's just say that I had more time to prep and could adjust the camera. So let's go to character sheets here. Now, I'm hoping you can see this because, again, camera is sideways. But you can look online if you want to, and you can see the character sheets with the QR code or the website. And this is what you've got. Again, it matches up with here. So I'm going to try to recreate the Rascal or the Loyal Chum. Which one would you like to see? The Loyal Chum or the Rascal? Anybody have a preference as to which class you want to see? Those are the two that I've made before. And let me know. Or I will just let the dice decide. I could do that. Let's actually do that. Okay, we're going with Rascal. That's what we've got. The two choices, 50-50 here. So like I said, with character creation, you're going to go to the pages, making a note that it's not page 19, that it is actually page 26, where it just, boom, starts right there. Again, lighting, if it glares a little bit, shines too much on there, apologies ahead of time. You're not going to be able to see this. Substack wouldn't let me do all the fancy zooming out and perfecting of everything. But on all of the classes, you've got great amount of information just right here. That you've got the little intro of your class, and then it goes into a brief little stat block. We'll address that later. Then you're going to notice that there are perks and abilities. Again, we're going to go over those. There's levels of the abilities. But I am going to recreate the rascal, like I said. So let me find that right now. Here I have rascal, and that's on page 46. If you want to come along with me, make a rascal as well, then let's go ahead and turn to page 46. If you have the quick start and not the rule book, apologies that I don't know what page number, if that is even in the quick start, if they are enumerated in there. But the rascal is this roguish scamp. So probably know what a rascal sounds like with the idea, the concept, a little bit of a mischievous type of person. So with that, whenever we pick our class, then we're going to do exactly what the steps say. Now, again, because we're going to stick strictly to the book, and we've got chapter 2, I want you to see this. Chapter 2, character creation. Check this amazing artwork out that kicks us off here. When we look at these steps, now remember we're in step 1. We're browsing classes, browsing the folk. I'm going to do that real quickly before we actually go into the rascal. And character sheets, I've just gone over that. Let me not skip this little step here about browsing the folk. So it says page 52, and that one is correct, where classes was 19 and it's actually 26. So if I go to folk, now, little thing I don't want you to miss is it does give a little intro to folk, where it doesn't do that with a class. And then it goes into all of the 16 classes. Again, gnome is going to be something that's both class and folk, but I want you to see this spread here on page 50 to 51. They've got the 16 actually illustrated here. I love this artwork. Amazing job. Which one do you like? Have any favorites here? So whenever I'm going to the class, and I'm going to select now my class, which is step 2. Now again, remembering that your character sheets are 2 pages, whenever you pick your class, there is actually a class sheet, and rascal is the one that's right here on top. I have that printed. I'll show you that as well. When I go to the class and I'm selecting rascal, let me flip over to this again. Then you're going to go ahead and write that down on your character sheet, or type it in if you've got the digital fillable one. So I've got my little notes here again. Then I'm on step 2. I am picking my class. I've picked the rascal right here. And I'm going to make a note that we've got class perks, class abilities, okay? So let me show you this character sheet. First page right here. Now you're like, where's your class? Well, it's right here. You've got your name and pronouns. You don't have to do that right now. Just go with your class. I got rascal. Yep, that's what I am. All right, so now that I have that, like I said, you're going to actually select your class perk, class abilities. Now, class abilities start with level 1 right here. Whenever you have that class sheet printed out, I have several sheets here, so give me a moment to pull this out. So many sheets. Feel free to let me know in the chat how you're doing while I thumb through and try to find the rascal sheet. Okay. Yep, that's the one. Now, since I'm recreating the rascal, I do have some check marks here. You can just ignore those. But I'm going to recreate Yarn, who I call as like the accidental Han Solo that I made. And she's a turtlekin. We'll get to that with the folk. But yeah, so I selected as my perk, which if we look on Rascal, and we've got these perks, right? So you choose a style, choose a hustle. Perks, they're different for each class. So just read through those. Now, if I am choosing this style, I selected charlatan for yarn before. So if you have your class sheet, you look at perks, selecting charlatan. Now the charlatan is at the start of the session. The rascal can create elaborate alias complete with a disguise kit that can even make them look like another folk. I like that idea because of the accidental Han Solo that Yarn is with the turtlekin, because I thought of Star Wars and when Han Solo was in the Stormtrooper outfit. So then when we go to the hustle as the other perk, then I selected fibbing. So for the rascal specifically, is that once every session gain advantage on a trickery check. So I'm going to fill that in on the character sheet, which you would think is what you're going to do. But because you have your class sheet, this is where you fill it in. So make a note of that you go, okay, I'm going to go to my perk and I'm going to fill those out. It's actually here on your character, your class sheet. So you've selected your perk, right? And you've got that. I showed you charlatan and then fibbing. Now what about the abilities? Okay, so when you get to this, you're going to actually pick the abilities, both of them, on level 1. I want to show you this, that it starts at level 1. And again, I know, my lousy camera angle, because I did not have any way for Substack to be friendly enough to let me actually practice the camera angle beforehand. So again, apologies. But there are 10 levels that you have. So, didn't want to cover leveling up in XP, but a brief note. When you pick both of the level 1s, and then you do go to advancing or leveling up, then you're going to drop one from your previous level and pick a new one for the next level. Simple enough, right? Take a moment here for a drink. 1 moment, please. Okay, so now that we have actually picked out class perk, class abilities, I've explained about the leveling, then we're going to go to step 3. So this is whenever we're going to add modifiers to our attributes. So whenever we get to right here, this is step 3 in the rulebook. Assign modifiers to our attributes. It says page 13. Remember earlier in the video, if you were here or you're watching this and it's not live, then I mentioned that all the character creation material is in chapter 2, which is true, but there are some references to chapter 1 because that's where you're covering the mechanics and how the game works. So whenever we go to page 13, this is what we're going to see, is we're going to see the mention about attributes. We're also going to see in page 14 and forward for a bit, also mentioning about skills. So when we look at the attributes, there are 4 attributes in Land of Eem. These have fun little names. Some people have said they don't like them because they think like vim and vigor are the exact same thing. To each their own. Have fun, it's a game. Don't like it, homebrew it, rename it, whatever you want. I like vim and vigor, I think it's great, I think it's fun. So whenever we look at these, obviously we have our skills that are going to be housed under attributes, just like a traditional fantasy roleplay game. But with all of these, there are the descriptions. Very standard fare that you're going to get in a fantasy RPG. So whenever we're going to add these modifiers, and we know that these influence our skills and our stats from there, one thing that you're going to notice when you get back to these steps here, pay very close attention, is you're going to assign +2, +1, +0, you can just call it 0, and -1 to the attributes of your choice. Okay, so one thing to think about for all of you who want to min-max OP or, shall we say, make the most of your character, you can have fun with figuring out all the math with that. I don't have a math degree, so I'm not even going to pretend that I know the best optimization. I just like having fun, making a character and rolling with the dice and the punches. So if I go to my character sheet and I say I'm going to select the attributes vim, vigor, knack, and know-how that I want to have the +1, +2, or sorry, apologies, let me get that, +2, +1, +0, and -1 to on these attributes. I have a little bit of, I could say, what was Han Solo before. Now, because I'm recreating that, I am actually going to cheat a tiny bit here, don't mind. And I'm going to look at what that character really was. If I have it in all of my character sheets. I do indeed. So what I did before for yarn was I did the Vim was +1. So I can put that there. You don't have to put the plus if you want to, but you could just put 1. And for vigor, you could just, I selected 0. You don't have to put the plus there either. But make a note that if you're going to do the -1, absolutely mark it with a negative sign. So then I also have knack +2, know-how -1. Now, you may say, okay, you told me earlier, KJ, that you were making an accidental Han Solo, and I think that Han Solo's attributes would actually be different. That's cool. You can let me know what you would have done. I would like to know your thoughts. What do you think that the accidental Han Solo rascal would be? Would you have changed this? Perhaps. I wasn't meaning to make Han Solo from the beginning. I was meaning to make a fun little rascal character that was a turtlekin, and she was just going to be like, I don't know, kind of just behind the scenes, supportive, mischievous little character. But then it turned out that I looked at it and I said, oh, I feel like I've accidentally created Han Solo in some ways here. So once you get that written down, you've got your attributes of your choice, assigning all of those with our modifiers, then you're going to go to the corresponding skills of these attributes, and they all get a modifier that is the same. So they let us know that if vigor is +2, then athletics, intimidate, might, and vitality are also +2. As we see, like I said earlier, these skills are housed within the attributes. Now, one thing about the character sheet, thinking maybe it might have been nice that you had a little heading here. It says attributes or whatever. Make one. They don't have it here. That's cool. It's self-explanatory, but if you feel like that would better serve you, go for it. This is your character sheet. Have fun with it. So let's go ahead and go to the skills. And we're going to, again, go back a little bit to chapter 1, and we're going to notice what that is. So if I'm looking at page 13, and I know that there's the attributes, right? Now mention stats. You either think, oh, skills is going to be next. No, it's stats. Ignore this for right now. Attributes are going over to skills because they directly influence skills and stats. So let's look at these skills. I'm not going to go into detail for this for time's sake because I don't want to run out of time. How am I doing on time? Excellent. I have someone here helping me keep track of time. Thank you very much. It's an intern from Watchful Games helping me, watching online, keeping up with it. So the skills. They're primary skill categories. Now, you're thinking, if you look at this initially, and I just told you that there are 16 skills, perhaps, and I say, okay, so there are 4 attributes, and then each of these is housed 4 skills. So there are 16 total. If my math is correct, I hope it is at this point. It's very basic. And then you're thinking, no, look, KJ, there's a whole other table. And you're just thinking 16 and 16, this is 32. No, this is classifying it differently. So these are the primary skills, and you've got it as is. Attributes, skills, how they're housed. But then if you're looking for, when you get into the narrative role play, and you say, what are the skills that are social? Okay, so this is where it gets into the themes, things that will influence or affect your character's movements, physical stuff. Again, some more movement stuff, but physical movement. And then mental skills. So, not completely different sets of skills, 16 are the same. So let's go ahead and do that. If I go to my character sheet again, and I say that I'm going to assign these, and I've got this. Okay, so all these are going to have +1, +1, +1, +1, 0, 0, 0, 0, +2, +2, +2, +2, -1, -1, -1, -1. All right. It's going to get a little bit modified in step 4. One thing I want to note really fast before we go to, because you're thinking like, oh, this is all you get about skills. No. If you go through page 15, and I know, wonky camera angle here. We've got page 15, we've got Vim. Page 16 of the rule book, we've got Vigor. Page 17, we've got Knack. And then on page 18 to 19, we've got the know-how skills. Fun stuff. And we're not going to pay attention to that. Just wanted to show you that it does change topics. So it's cool. We've got all of these defined. If we say, oh, well, I'm not really sure that I made the right choice, you can always erase and change your mind. You're not playing yet, so you're not cheating. You're deciding how you want your character to be. Use the eraser and change if you want to. You say, oh, I actually don't want my vigor to be all zeroed out. Maybe I want someone who has a little bit more might. You can change that, switch it around, and then know that when we get to step 4, you're actually going to do some more personalization and modifying every character. So if we go back to sticking with the vanilla process here, and we're tweaking our skills on page 14. I was just referring to. So this is where, on my quick notes here, at step 4, some personalization going on, that we are actually going to do the following. We're going to subtract 1 from a +2, subtracting 1 from a +1, adding +1 to a 0, and +1 to a -1. Just a skill, not touching the attribute. You get to do that to 1, not multiple. So let's look at this. If I'm saying that I'm just going to select something random here, and I've got, first one, nimbleness. I want +2. And I'm going to take 1 away from that. Now, I said to use the eraser point of your pencil. I don't have an eraser. So what I will do, look, I have a magic eraser appear out of nowhere. Okay, so then I knock this down. And then if I'm going to select, I'm just going to choose the top ones for right now. Subtracting 1 from a 1. So look at this. This is where the pluses and minuses, I guess, could help for visual reference if you want to. Like I said, you don't have to put the plus in front, but definitely for the negative, you want to. But then I'm going to just pick the first one. You know, Han Solo, accidental Han Solo maybe doesn't have as much charm as real Han Solo, perhaps. So that zeroes out. Then if I'm looking at the 0, just going to pick the first one. Now, I'm making this a bit more athletic right here. This is where, again, personalization comes in. You're going to select what you want. Maybe you want a little bit more vitality, and you could put the +1 there if you wanted. Then whenever we get to this +1 to a -1, so what that's going to do is make it a 0. If I say, okay, all of these, just picking the first one, that's actually going to make it a 0. So everyone see all of that. So now we've got a little bit of difference in our numbers, right? Now that we've got that done, we're going to go to step 5. I fear I'm going to run out of time. I hope not. So here we are with the 5 stats that we get on page 13. Again, it refers to this. Now, this is when you can pay attention to the stats. So with the stats, you've got 5 of them. You've got courage, attack, defense, quest points, and inventory slots. Now, they are directly influenced by attribute modifiers. That's why these are on the same page, is because they're directly influenced by the attribute modifiers. So if we look at just going through the steps, with your courage and your dread, they're determined by the class. What class did I select earlier? Anyone remember? It was Rascal, right? So yeah, I could try to, no, you can't really read on that. But if we go to the rascal and we look at the top, this is where we see the courage and dread. This is where we're going to write this down on our character sheet. And we're going to see courage, the heart. So 12 plus our vim. What is our vim? It is a +1. So courage, 12 plus vim, it's going to be a 13. Whenever we're looking at our dread, it's 1d6. Now, you would think, oh, courage. That's just keeping up with what it is in that moment, because your courage is going to change during the game. So you're kind of like having a tracker here. With dread, it's actually here. So your dread for the rascal is 1d6. Right? Everybody's catching that, right? So then whenever we look at the attack, which is one of your other stats, you're going to go and say it's equal to, and I want you to be able to see this on the page. You know, they put this lovely bookmark here, this ribbon, and I moved it earlier before I started going through the live video. I should have moved it back. So when I'm looking at attack is equal to the vigor modifier. So it's 0. All right. Then if I'm wanting to look at, again, step by step, defense is the inverse of knack modifier. Okay, so if you have a +2 on your knack, then your defense is -2. In that example, and that's actually what mine is. So if we are looking at just going through the vanilla steps here of all of this, quest points equal to 3 plus know-how, and you say, wait, I want to know what all of these are. Okay. So again, you can look at your knack, figure out what vigor was, makes this, all of these things. And you're like, I want to know what we're looking at. So right here is where you're going to get the information talking about your courage. Just real fast to go through these so that we're making sure that you understand what these are actually representing. So like your defense, I mean, that's self-explanatory. Attack is self-explanatory. Courage could be self-explanatory to some, but obviously, you know, there are some elements here like quest points. You're like, what do I do with quest points? So kind of like luck if you play something like Call of Cthulhu and you've got luck. But it's replenished at the start of each session. And then it also allows you to use special abilities or perks that are once every session. But this is where you're going to find the information. Here is attributes and stats. It's page 13 of the core rulebook if you want to know that, just as a quick reference here. So whenever I am going to my quest points and I said, what is this? That quest points is 3 plus the know-how. What is my know-how? So it's actually a negative here. So I'm going to take 1 away from the 3. I'm just going to get 2. And I'm okay with that. When we get to the inventory slots, and we're going to say that it's 20 plus might and vitality. So what is my might? It's under vigor, it's 0. Vitality, it's also 0. So what do I get? I get 20. That's all I get. Inventory is right here. Now that's just a little small. So, and I have to be honest, I don't really understand why there's a so many out of so many, except for this is how many are filled and this is how many total. That's what I'm assuming it is. You tell me. If it's over, then I would assume if I've got 22 here, I would be overburdened or possibly even selecting tired at one point. I haven't gotten to that in a game yet. Step 3, step 3, times 2. Step 6, that's going to be going to the folk. And I'm going to speed things up just a tiny bit so I don't run out of time. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to let me know what you're creating, go for it. Page 50 to 51, you're going to see all of these folks, that there are 16. I showed you that earlier briefly. But then you actually get to the detail. Like I said, there is a little bit of a blurb for folk that you don't have exactly with class. I think that's wrong, actually. Let me show you why. There is a blurb. but it's a little different. Okay, that's my bad. Whenever you get to the folk, and I selected the turtlekin, and you're going to notice that with the folk, there are steps here that you can follow on page 52. If you want to, you can follow the steps here on page 6, on step 6 of page 24. So when you get to the 1 skill bonus and 1 skill penalty, you choose 1 folk perk, or you choose 2 folk perks and 1 folk quirk. That is a lot to say all at once. Sounds like some of the stuff is rhyming. Oh, hello, someone. Oh, someone joined late, and I want to tell you apologies for the camera being sideways. I think I've apologized about 4 times now, and I do feel awful about it being sideways, but I will have that fixed for the next Let's Make a Character live stream that we do. So whenever we are referring back to page 52, and the steps are listed here, that I'm going to very quickly go through selecting the folk. What did I choose before for my rascal? I chose turtlekin. Now, whenever you're going to all this, I said turtlekin, and that is not the right thing. It's Quirtles. Thinking of Dragonbane when I said turtlekin. So, but we're in Land of Eem. Quirtles. This is what I have here for my folk that I selected. Now, you're going to go ahead and pick out, the size is small, and Quirtle, singular, that's what I am. And that my size is small. Not going to make a note of that just yet, or my name, but I am going to look at skills. I get +1 on my charm, +1 on my search, or +1 on wilderness. Now, it says to pick just 1, right? It does. But then I'm also picking one of these negatives. You're thinking, where's KJ getting that from? So let's look at these. And we've got choose 1 skill bonus and 1 penalty. So it does not say skill bonus and penalty, it just says skills. The pluses are the bonus, the negatives are your penalties. So if I'm looking at, and I'm saying I'm just going to choose the first one on the list for time's sake and simplicity, and earlier whenever I was modifying the skills from the previous step on step 4, then my charm got knocked down to a 0. So right here again, I'm going to select making this a +1, and that 0 actually goes right back up to a +1. Now, you don't have to do that way. You can say that you want the search to go all the way up from a +2 to a +3. For skills specifically, they are maxed out at +3, and they are also cannot go down any further to past a -3. Can't go above or beyond that. It kind of reminds me of the board games where the stats are fairly low, and it can be a bit scary to people who've played Pathfinder like myself for several years, or D&D. And so you're thinking like massive amount of high numbers here, right? Not so with some of these other games. So whenever you're going to look at your folk, just so you know, whenever it says to pick the bonus and the penalty, you're looking at skills. It's not actually going to say that. It's going to simply say skills. It's going to be housed, and you can just look right over here if you want to be reminded of that. If I choose 1 perk, or I choose 2 perks and a quirk. Now, on the character sheet, remembering that they are 2 pages, then I said that they're the class sheets, right? So if we're looking at this right here, because we're dealing with the folk, we're going to look at the second page of our character sheet, and this is where we're going to fill it in. Not on the first page of the character sheet, not on our class sheet. It's going to be on the second page. What I did before, so that you can see, is that I selected, if I'm going to Quirtle here, and I've got the perk and the quirk. And this is when I did note the size. They describe the sizes of like how many apples tall. I think that gives into the whimsical charm of Land of Eem. Whenever we're looking at the perks and quirks, read the description and select the ones that you feel are best for your characters. So, if I look at what I chose before, I have deep breath. It's my ancestry. So I can hold my breath for 30 minutes. I didn't choose a quirk because I did not want a second perk. I just chose the one perk. So that's what I did there. Any questions real quick before we move on? Like I said earlier, and I think I'm going to run over the hour mark. If you need to step out, that's fine. I will try my best to wrap this up as quickly as possible, though. For the gnome, like I said earlier, if you choose it as a class, it's going to be the same as the folk. You're going to find that out. Whenever you go to your folk and you select that, and you've got your skills bonus +1 in one of those, penalty is a -1, you've picked out your perk and your quirk, then you get to choose the homeland. So whenever you are looking at the different folk, you're going to see that there are some homelands listed, and you're thinking, well, how do I know which one to pick? I mean, this is just like cute little names. Drippy Downs, the Quagmash, River Country, and Squagaland Strand. Okay, but what does that actually mean? So they actually do define the homelands, and there's a little blurb at the intro. Going to ignore that optional rule because we're sticking to the vanilla. And it does kind of expand a bit here. So what we're going to do is just make this reference. If you're in the core rule book, then I want to show you this. You've got, we finished step 6, you've got step 7, selecting the homeland. Tells us to go to page 69, which is what this page is right here. And it has steps listed here. Just want you to note that these are the same. So you can either work off of this or you can work off of this. However you want to do it. So when you select your homeland, you're going to do the same thing. Pick 2 proficiencies, list your equipment. List 2 proficiencies, list your equipment. You also get to roll for mundane items. So we're going to pick the homelands, but you say, wait a minute, you just mentioned all these cute little homelands and I don't know anything about them. Go over to the next page and you have the descriptions of these. You're going to notice that this is where the proficiencies are, this is where your equipment is. So you're picking the proficiencies, you pick 2 of them. You're going to see that there are multiple ones. And then you're going to take all of the equipment from that location. Notice that it's 10 slots for the Quagmash. Well, your inventory, if you noticed that earlier, that for my character, with having no extra might, no extra vitality on their modifier, I only get 20 slots. So if I select the Quagmash, Quagmash? Am I saying that right? Wow. Existential crisis almost there. The Quagmash or Quagmash or however you would pronounce it, it's going to take up 10 slots. And then I think, well, what if I want to be from somewhere else where it maybe would take less? And I say they used to be forest. Well, I'm getting all caught up, but then I need to go back and look. I've got the Drippy Downs, the Quagmash, River Country, Scalawag Strand. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm so caught up in all this. Well, Quirtles don't come from some of these locations. So be mindful of that whenever you're selecting these. You're going to have a lot of fun here. You're thinking, yes, I'm getting some gear. And you're writing this down and you're noting that this is how much each of these take up in your inventory, how many slots. But remember that if you're not from there, you can't select that. So if I'm looking at where I'm going to say that I'm from, I'm going to take that and looking at where do you put everything, all of this right here. If it's worn or if it's carried, it should be obvious. If we just stick with this, because I've already butchered the name, the Quagmash. Well, I'm not going to be able to wear an alchemy set. I think we understand that's as carried, but you have these little visuals to let you know. Maybe you do find a way to wear an alchemy set, perhaps. So there are some things about crafting and coins and rations. This is not in the basic character creation, so we're not even going to address that for this time. We can go into that for future references if anybody wants to know more about those. So whenever we're looking at the equipment, and again, you've learned what your inventory slots were in step 5, and you write all of this down, and you have the proficiencies, because you can get caught up in the equipment like I'm doing here, and you've forgotten that you've selected where you're from. Don't forget that you also want to select 2 of the proficiencies. Not all of them. 2 proficiencies, all equipment. Put them down and thinking, where do I write the proficiencies down? If I look on the first page, I see this is where my inventory is. Right above your inventory are your proficiencies. That's where you write these down. So I'm going to just quickly say, if I can be from the Quagamash, and I confirm that I can be, then I'm going to select these real fast, and I'm going to say Swamp Lore. And what does the Quirtle want to do? For fun, I think I want my accidental Han Solo to be able to wrangle with gators, so gator wrangling. There we are. Now, when we get done with this, then we can roll. I'm going to show you mundane items here. You've got items and equipment is covered in better depth on chapter 3 of the core rulebook. You can go through that if you want to. I'm going to refer you to page 88 through 93 for the mundane items selection here. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to roll 1d400. And I know you're thinking, what does that mean, KJ? It's explained right here. It's not too complicated. You're going to roll your 1d4 first. That's going to tell you which hundreds section or subsection, shall we say, you're in. Then you roll your d100. You roll your 2 10s, your percentage dice, whichever you have or prefer to call them. So let's just say that I have rolled. I've got my lovely dice here, but for time's sake, I'm going to make up that I've rolled. And I'm going to say that I have rolled my d4 and I have gotten the 1. So it would be 1 through 100, which is all of this page and most of this page. And let's say, what sounds fun? Balloon. This is fun. Some of these items are logical. Bolas, ball and chain, perhaps. I don't know. A bag, backpack. Very traditional fantasy fare here that we're getting. The axe, a blanket makes sense, but then a balloon. Okay, if I get a banjo, but I'm not a bard, maybe I don't like that. So I would, perhaps, it says it's a tool. Perhaps. Maybe I find a creative way to do that. But let's assume that I have rolled and I have gotten, on my d4, I've gotten the 1. So I know that I'm going to stay in the 100 section. And then I roll again, my d100, and I get a 9. So I select balloon, other item, I roll again, and I go all the way to 2. For my d4 was a 2 on the roll result. So it's 101 to 200. And for fun, let's just pick out something here. Huge feather. So I roll my d100 to see in this subsection, what did I get? And I roll 83 on my d100, a huge feather. What can I do with a huge feather? Perhaps right now I don't know the answer to that, but as I'm role playing, I trade with someone. I do some bartering and I get my favorite snack because I need to eat, perhaps. With the character story, and we're referring to page 72, we're going to look at our name. That's suggested names are per the folk. So if you want to go to Quirtle, and there's some example names. You can pick this. I picked Yarn, where it was Jarn, but I'm pronouncing the J as a Y sound for yarn. And then you're also going to pick out your pronouns, your backstory. Backstory is based on class, and I'm going to show you that. If we go back to our character creation on page 24 of the core rulebook, and we look at this last little bit, we've selected our name and our pronouns, and say, okay, create a backstory. Well, how do I do that if it's based on my class? So I'm going to tell you that you're actually going to get to this part here where you've gotten done with your locations and character stories, because this is the part that we're at on step 8. And it does give us a little bit of a blurb for each thing with some examples. And we're just thinking backstory reminds me of other games where you'll see these roll charts, roll tables, and you can roll your d6. You can just pick one, work with the GM and the other players, and make one up if you want to. That's fine. One thing of note here, whenever you make your backstory based off the class again, is I'm not going to go over here and do Bard because I'm a rascal. So selecting this, let's say I roll and I have rolled a 4 snooping around the city and selling secrets to the highest bidder. Fantastic. Then I'm also going to make a note that I have an ally and that I have a rival right here. So whenever you're filling out your character sheet, your backstory, and you're writing down your ally and your rival, you can make these up. Go with the GM and speak with them and say, hey, I'm thinking of something else other than one of these. Is this okay? And they say, yeah. And they're working with you, and you've built out a backstory that's a little more personalized to what you want your character to be. You've made a note of your ally and your rival. Then you're going to continue with the ideals and flaws, just flipping right back over if you want to know the blurb of what those are, ideals and flaws, what they represent. But then you're going here again to the roll tables, sticking with it, being connected to your class. I have Rascal. Again, I can roll, I can pick, work with your GM if you're doing this with solo. You can do this however you want. If you want to make one up, and I say I want to talk my way out of trouble because of accidental Han Solo, I think that works quite well. For my flaw, and each of these are not just flavoring for your character. These are going to be part of what you're doing in the game whenever you are leveling up. So like you're gaining these XP points if you've engaged with your ideal, if you've engaged with your flaw. So leaning into playing your character at the flaw. And what would accidental Han Solo do? Bet against the odds, because what does he say? Never tell me the odds, kid, right? So then we're going to personal quest. And personal quest, it is said that you should do that at session 0. And it says that you should do the same on relationships. Now, why is that? As we're getting ready to wrap all this up. It's because assuming that you are not doing solo play, assuming that you are playing with a group of other players, then those connections, like in Traveler, where you have that, or Tales from the Loop, Things from the Flood, you've got the connections to the other characters, then you're going to do that at session 0. But let's say that maybe it's a solo game and you are doing this and you say, I want my personal quest to be pay off my gigantic debt to Jabba the Hutt. That's probably what an accidental Han Solo might say. There might be something else that you would say, this is what your accidental Han Solo would do. But then you're going to go, and these personal quests you do at the session 0, because this is something that it's working within the group. Everybody having a personal quest, personal, but that you're working with the GM on this, and that you are allowing maybe the group this personal quest complements this one. Maybe they work against each other and it's antagonizing, and so there is that conflict if you feel like that's something that's healthy and safe and fun for your group. Maybe not. But relationships, definitely the connection point that you want to make sure that you're having with the other players. So if we go to, keeping in mind that this is related to the class, flip over to this other page on page 80, this fun art, but making sure that we see class-related rascal, and this is for the relationships. Now, you've noticed the blanks really fast here for personal quest and relationships that you did not have with ideals and flaws. You did not have that with backstory either. You have these blanks because, again, session 0, that they're connected to another player. That's where these blanks are here. Or like this, if it's not. Like I just said, pay off my gigantic debt to an NPC. I say to my GM, Han Solo has an accidental Jabba the Hutt. And my GM can give me that as an NPC that I have to deal with. Maybe that's my rival that I have. So wrapping up here. And I say that one of the other player characters, maybe they are the loyal chum, and we're going to name them Sam, Sammy, Samantha, whatever you want to. And I'm going to say just, what would an accidental Han Solo be here? What do you think? This is like Princess Leia with accidental Han Solo, perhaps. You don't have to have romance in your game. That's your own discretion. I don't do that in my games. But if I say, okay, so Sam gets on my nerves so much I don't know whether to punch him or kiss him. And so there we are. We are out of time. It is 6 minutes past the top of the hour. I had fun going over all of this. I really enjoy GMing. Making characters is not always my favorite thing to do because I prefer to just run games for folks, but I hope you enjoyed going through the character creation steps with me for Land of Eem that is available. Pretty much you can just do a browser search and find this. But again, top of the hour, I was showing you who this was by. Fantastic. Ben Costa and James Parks. Great work. All of them. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time for the next Let's Make a Character session, and may the dice be ever in your favor.